Hey, fourth and fifth grade designers. I have been really impressed with all of the 3D design work that you have been doing in Tinkercad. I went through and I looked at all of the designs you've been working on so far for your bedroom furniture, and I'm really impressed. You guys have worked really hard, and I know that in many ways we're disappointed to be having school at home instead of school at school, and I definitely miss you guys. But I was noticing in your projects that I think some of you, at least many of you actually, are becoming better 3D designers while working on this project at home than you would be at school. And I think that's because you have a little extra time to just stay at your computer and keep working on a project instead of saying, me saying, oh, tech class is over, time to leave, shut your laptop. You can just keep working on it if you're in the middle of something and developing those skills. And then I also think that you guys are trusting yourselves to experiment and become more independent and trying things out to figure out good strategies that work for you and the way that Tinkercad works. I think that if you were in class, you might have a tendency to say, oh, I don't know how to do this. Zoe, come help me, and just kind of wait around until I could come help you. But because you're home and you're having to do more of this on your own, I think you're being braver at just clicking things and trying things and figuring things out. So I think that you guys are actually becoming better 3D designers much faster at home than you would be at school. And I am really impressed. So I guess that's a little silver lining, as they say, of kind of a bummer of a situation is we can't be at school, but at least there's a little cool thing that's coming out of it. And you guys are knocking my socks off with your 3D design. So I grabbed a few designs off of Tinkercad to show you guys, just so you could see a little example of what some of your classmates have been working on. And I don't have time to show you all of them, even though they're all really great. I just grabbed a few to show you a range of the types of furniture people have been working on and the different ways that they've approached it. So let me share my screen with you and share a few of those projects with you before we get started on our new one. This one's Elliot's. He's working on his bed. This one's Madison's. She's working on a set of drawers that she designed separately outside of the case so that maybe the drawers, once they got printed, could actually slide in and out. And this one is Nadine's. She worked really hard on her desk area with all the different objects on it. And then also, I think, some big stuffy pillows and a bed over here. And this one's Alina's. She has her whole desk area and a bookshelf next to it with lots of things on the bookshelf. And Brooke designed her canopy bed with the whole frame that comes up off of it. And Kai worked hard on a shelf that has those drawers, those little like cubbies that you can slide in and out, like storage bins, with objects on top of it too. And Alina has been working on a desk and a little rolly chair. And Kai's working on his bed, complete with pillows and a little stuffy. And Heyul worked hard on his chair with all those skinny pieces in the back. And Tig's working on his desk with all the different compartments, and I think that's a lamp on it. And Emil has a bunk bed, apparently, so he had to do double the bed for his design. And then Evan is working on the keyboard that he, I think, uses to practice piano in his room. And Liam has a whole slew of different furniture from his bedroom with some objects like a globe and a lamp on them. And then Henry is working on his bed, complete with the bedside tables and some little lamps and pillows and things. So that hopefully is just a nice way to take a peek into some of the projects your classmates have been doing. And like I said, the other ones that I didn't show right now are also really great. So I just didn't want to spend a really long time showing you every single kid's project because that would take a long time right now. But just know that everyone's on a really good track who has been doing the project. And I can't wait to see what you guys design for this upcoming project, which let me introduce to you right now. Your new project for tech class in 3D design is actually a connection between science and technology, because what your challenge is this time for 3D design is to design one of the light fixtures in your bedroom that can actually fit one of our little light bulbs from our science electrician kits. So I know that we'll be using these light bulbs for science activities that are coming up, but what you're designing this week for 3D design, and you'll keep working on it next time too, is a little lamp or maybe an overhead light fixture or some sort of light fixture that's in your room that has a light bulb in it. And you're going to design that in the 3D Design Tinkercad program, but make sure that we'll actually be able to fit one of these real miniature string light bulbs when you're all done, so that you could eventually connect this to a battery and have this plugged in to what looks like a real lamp or light fixture from your room and have it glow from inside like a real one would. And I know that at this point, we're not able to access school and get all of your projects printed, but there still might be a chance that we can get some of these printed for you. So design it as if it's going to actually be printed, and you might have a chance to actually put a light inside of it. Because how cool would that be to have your little bedroom furniture printed, your little bed, your bookshelf, your desk, and a lamp that could have a real light bulb that hooks into a little battery behind it glow actually in your little setup of 3D printed bedroom furniture. Amazing, right? So that's your challenge for today. Let me give you a few Tinkercad tips for what to keep in mind to make sure that your design would work with a real light bulb, and then you'll get started. All right, designing a lamp or a light fixture in Tinkercad is tricky. That is why this is your final 3D design project for tech class. You've gotten to practice on all the other pieces of furniture and all the other tutorials and practice lessons that we've done. So this is supposed to be a challenge. So make sure you go into this project with that mindset that it's going to be tricky. So I've started a lamp design already here. I have my base, I have some supports that help hold up my lampshade, and now I'm going to try to make my lampshade hollow on the inside. The designs that we make and print through Tinkercad and a 3D printer are never going to have thin enough outsides for the light to go through them. Like a real lampshade is so thin, the light just shines through the shade, or a light fixture on your ceiling sometimes has a glass dome over it that the light shines through. And the lamps we design for our 3D printer will never be that thin because they're made of solid plastic. But we can still make them fairly hollow on the inside and make sure there are openings where light can escape and kind of shine out. So with that in mind, I have made another cone shape that's similar to my lampshade shape, but my lampshade shape is 32 by 32 wide and across. And so I made this one a little bit smaller. This one's 27 by 27. And then this one for height was 36 millimeters. So I made this one a little smaller and I made it 32 centimeters. So now this one's gonna be the hollow shape on the inside to hollow this lampshade out. So I'm gonna turn this one into a hole. And I'm also gonna turn this one into a hole right now so I can see through it to move this inside into the right positioning. And then I need to make this one as tall as this one is. And I was just checking, and this one I believe is 40 lifted. So I'm going to take this one, use the little party hat, and that will give me the option to just enter in my 40 height. I want them exactly at the same height so that the hole that this one's going to create is going to be right at the bottom of this one and let light out when there's a real little light bulb inside of there. And then I can go from the aerial perspective from above and drag my inside cone into my outside lampshade and position it as best I can. I can maybe use my arrow keys to be a little bit more exact. And then I can look at it from a few different angles and make sure it's kind of where I want it. Make sure the edges are going to be thick enough that the printer can actually print them, but thin enough that it's mostly hollow on the inside. And then I'm going to turn the outside shape back solid. But now the inside of it, you can kind of see from underneath, is hollow. So there's one problem that you might be noticing. It looks like a real lampshade, but are my supports actually supporting anything anymore? Or are they just touching an empty hollow space? Yeah, they're touching empty hollow space right now. So that was a fun little challenge that I came across as I was starting my design and practicing these steps to show you, is that will remind me at this point that I am going to need to move this aside and probably lift, stretch those little supports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to group the two lampshade parts together. Hopefully that worked, and move them to the side, move them away. You're too far, come back. Why did you go that far? I didn't want you just off in space. There, and okay, you can see from underneath, it's nice and hollow. But now I'm going to come back to these, and I'm going to, not lift them, I want to stretch them. Stretch them a little higher so that they will actually touch the lampshade and hold it up in the real design. So let's see, let's make them maybe all 18. So that one's 18, this one 18, this one 18, enter, this one 18, enter. So now that they're all taller, let's see what happens if I put this lampshade back on them. And I'm just going to turn this lampshade into a hole for now so I can kind of see if they're touching actual solid plastic in the edge of the wall, or if they're touching plastic high enough up. Looks like some of them are. I might want to make them all a little taller, because they don't all seem to be touching right at the top there. Like this one is just still in hollow space. I might be able to fix that by moving it around a little bit, but I think ultimately I'm going to need these to be even taller, like maybe 24, for them to actually touch. Maybe even taller than that. Let's see, 26. There we go. You see how it's intersecting the actual edge of the lampshade now, so that will actually hold it on. So then I would do that for all of them. 24, 24, 24. Let's see, I want you to be 24 also, and you should accept right from the beginning that this lamp or light fixture that you make is never going to look exactly like the real one in your bedroom, but you're just trying to aim for one that's a close replica that can actually have a little bulb inside of it. So now that I've adjusted those supports to make sure they actually hit solid plastic and are not just floating in the air and making the 3D printer go, what the heck? I'm going to turn this lampshade back solid. And it looks like my little supports are sticking out a little bit there. So if I wanted to, I could make them slightly shorter, where they'd still touch, but they wouldn't stick out. I'm not going to do that right this second during the video, but that might be a good thing for the future. But what you need to make sure of before you finish is that there's a hole, a space for this light bulb to come up from the bottom of your lamp, or if you're doing a light fixture for the ceiling of your bedroom, there's a space, a hole from the top for the little light bulb to be dangling into your light fixture. So what you'll need to do is make sure that the sizing is correct for this little light. So I grabbed a ruler, and this light is about 1 centimeter across. I don't know if you can see that on the ruler. You can obviously measure your own little lights with your own ruler at home, but the width of the light in the plastic wide base is about 1 centimeter. And remember that in Tinkercad, the default setting is millimeters. So 20 by 20 means 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, but there's 10 millimeters in every centimeter. So 20 by 20 millimeters is really the same thing as saying 2 by 2 centimeters. And so I can kind of look at my lamp right now and think, is there going to be room for a hole to go through the base for a 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter light to come up through it and fit? I think there might be. If 20 by 20 millimeters, and this is 10 millimeters because 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So I think that if I now take a column, a cylinder as they call it, and I make it 10 by 10 to make sure that this can fit through. This was a little bit smaller than 1 centimeter, so it's a little bit smaller than 10 millimeters. So 10 by 10 should be fine. And if I make it the same height as this one's 33, so this one will also be 33. And then I'm going to turn this into a hole and put this one inside of it. You know what? I might just turn this whole thing into a hole right now so that I can see everything invisible. And I'm going to put this, actually I'm going to turn this one into a hole first, because once it's inside, it's hard to access to do anything to it. Drill a hole through the middle of my lamp, and then turn the other shapes that need to be solid back solid again. All of you guys get solid. Is everything solid again? Yeah. But you can see from the bottom that I have a hole drilled through my base so that my actual little light bulb could come out right through that hole and kind of stick into the lampshade, and the light from the light bulb could shine out under the lampshade. It can't shine through because our lampshade is going to be made of solid plastic, but it can at least shine out because I remembered to make the globe, the orb part of my light fixture, in my case, the shade, hollow, and because I remembered to drill a hole through the base for the cute little real light bulb to go through. So when I was done, so pretend I was done, although I wouldn't be, I'd want to fix a few of these mistakes first. Make sure that you select the whole thing and you group it. Some of you forgot to do that on your other furniture. And then you have an actual little light fixture that a real cute little bulb could fit through. So there are your tips for today. If your lamp is not the right size to make a nice little 10 by 10 millimeter hole to fit your light through it, remember you can always group it first and then you can play with the dimensions and it changes the whole lamp at once instead of changing each piece by itself. But I actually had good dimensions before I messed with that, so I'm going to put it back and have a nice little lamp. Don't forget to rename your project. Some of you did not rename your projects in Tinkercad for your bedroom furniture, and sometimes it was obvious what your furniture was supposed to look like, and sometimes it was a little harder for me to tell if that was one of your practice lessons or if it was one of your bedroom furniture pieces. So make sure you click the name that the Tinkercad website gives you, and it will give you a chance to delete their random name and give it your own name. Like I might name this bedroom lamp, and then I hit return or enter on my keyboard, and I click the little Tinkercad rainbow logo in the corner, and that will save my work. And then next time I can go back into that project and tinker it some more to improve it. So make sure you rename it and click the little logo in the corner to save it. And then that way it'll be a part of your recent designs on your dashboard, on your homepage. This project is tricky. Persevere. You have a few weeks to work on this, so make sure you chip away at it little by little. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need any tips for how to navigate Tinkercad and navigate your specific light. If you are having trouble with your light, send me a photo of the light fixture you're trying to design from your real bedroom, and that will help me understand how to help you with designing it in Tinkercad. All right, good luck.